Hey everybody, good morning. I'm Marion, the Inappropriate Artist. And I was just thinking about something. So, yeah, I just put those two words together, didn't I? I got a notification, well, I got a letter, well, message from a message from a person who I thought would be a supporter. So I guess I'm thinking, the more and more I also get asked the question from other supporters, why do I call myself the inappropriate artist? This letter basically sums it up, right? So I chose this life because I am 47 years old. I will be 48 in a couple of months. I watched my father die of Alzheimer's, and he never went back to his art. And when I was with him in his last 5 years, I learned how to not do what he did. I learned that I needed to pick up this ball that I had dropped my whole life. My whole life I dropped that ball. I stood behind other people. I was a picture framer for 30 years. So I was all about, well, I can't do the art, I just present the art. I would say that over and over again. That was the mantra I had. When people would ask me, oh, picture framing is an art, I would answer. Or I'm just not good enough. I would never be able to actually sell my art. Right? So these are the things I would say to myself over and over and over again when people asked me why I chose picture framing. So when I realized what I'd been doing to myself all those years, I had, what happened was I read a book. Yeah. Isn't this what happens to everybody, right? Today, this is the whole new thing. Read a book and change your life. But this book really did change my life. And it was suggested by a good friend. And I, someone whom I trusted and I still trust. And I mean, there's one phrase this man said to me that still sticks in my head. Heal, deal, and feel, right? So I add to that, then let it go, right? So if I don't let it go, it can't open doors for me. See how that works? So I made this choice to fulfill that part of me that was awakened by this book. And that was that it was The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And she has a whole chapter on the shadow artist, right? So the shadow artist is exactly what I just described about myself. All those things I used to say about myself. That's the shadow artist. And when I quit drinking, I stopped drinking. Let's rephrase that. I stopped drinking. I don't drink. I was able to finally say I'm an artist without crying. Well, it took a long time to say it without crying. Why? Because I was finally saying it out loud. When you hold something inside for that long, and deny it, and it's so true to who you are, say it out loud, one, starts to finally make it real, right? It's not just, I heard something this morning on a podcast, and I love this guy. I think he's fabulous, Chris Ryan. But he said something this morning on this podcast that I was listening to. I don't know when he recorded it, but it's during this pandemic because, that much I gather. But, the whole concept of telling another human being, I mean, I totally agree about I agree with him about everything he said. I'm just going to put it that way because if you want to know what I'm talking about, he has a podcast where I'll digress for a second. He has a podcast where he talks about, right now that I see on Stitcher, where he talks about what it's like, or what were things we're not supposed to say, basically. And he just did this whole thing on being inappropriate, and I was like, ding, 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 ding. That's it, right? My life choice, my decision to walk away from the classic job, okay, because I've been in one my whole life since I was, since I wanted to buy my own clothes, right? That's when it started. When did I have to get my job? I got my job when I had to have the Benetton sweater and I had to have the Guess jeans. That's when I got my job. Instead of allowing myself to discover myself, consumerism overtook me at the age of 11 or 12. And there was this realization that I needed to look like everybody else and be like everybody else. And I was going to a private school and I lived in Greenwich. Right? So those were the things I had to have in order to fit in order to be a part of the norm. I got a letter that told me that on no uncertain terms would they participate in what I'm doing. Right? That's the sum of it right there. Because what I'm doing is shameful. Crowdfunding is shameful. I'm just going to put that in a nutshell for you. So that's what this letter said. And I thought to myself, in everything I ever learned as a gallery owner, marketing is everything. And as an artist, there's no reason that can't be a job, for heaven's sake. But just because what this is completely uncertain, that is what strikes fear right there. This is a completely uncertain life that I have chosen. I chose it. And if you want to support me, that's because you know deep within yourself that that's what you want to accomplish for yourself and that you're working toward that. That's when you want to support me. When you don't want to support me, I can honestly say my personal view is that you are terrified of the uncertain and that you are projecting your fear of that onto me in order to make yourself feel better about your choice. And I appreciate that you say it to me with love, because that's what you perceive, but understand that I do not perceive it that way. Understand that I see it as something to be sad for you for, because it is if you're that afraid of the uncertainty in life, you're going to live your life in a really dark hole. I'm not telling people to go out, jump in a van, and live in a van and travel the country. It's not what I'm asking. That's not what I'm saying. That's not even what I'm doing. I am learning how to make a career, a life, or whatever the hell you want to call it, that just enables me to survive, right? Because I am at heart that much of a minimalist. Okay, so that's why it broke me to have to buy a house when I was, and like I realized that. These are all things that I realized. And you know what else I learned when I got sober? There's this one really cool thing I learned. That is when you try to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, you will go insane. That's what I will go insane if I do those things. I've already done it. Over and over and over again, I've done it. So, I chose to do something that had always been in the back of my head. Probably since, I think I even once wrote it down that I was inspired by, when I did my GoFundMe page. That was part of my description. But I realized GoFundMe I didn't feel good about. Why didn't I feel good about GoFundMe? It was the same reason I struggled with my PayPal Me account. Because that fear of saying it's okay for you to support me because you believe in what I'm doing, right? I was very inspired by the TED Talk, which my friend Liz, thank you Liz, introduced me to. And I may have mentioned it in a previous video, maybe way at the beginning. But Amanda Palmer from the Dresden Dolls gave a TED Talk. It's like 15 minutes long. You know what? I'm going to look it up and I'm going to put it in the description below because it's worth it. I know this is now 12 minutes. I'm going to close up. But it inspired me to learn more about the art of asking. The art of asking. And it really sums up how I feel about what I'm doing. And my life choice may be inappropriate to some. What else makes me inappropriate? Well, you're just going to have to watch and find out for the answer to that one, aren't you? So if you like this video, you can give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. It would help my channel. And it's free. If you want to contribute, links are below. Patreon gives me a monthly income. And one-time contributions are always welcome. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Enjoy your week. Be a little inappropriate. And say things that you shouldn't say out loud, quote unquote. And consider exchanging the word should for shame. See what it does. Take care, everybody.